before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that again, everything is down in the description below if you need it, and just head on over to my GitHub and the code will be there for you. You can follow along by copying in, or you can type out. It's completely up to you, but let's get started. In the last video we created our API, which showed us some static data here, and we're going to now use this data to display within the home page. We're going to do that by using a JavaScript framework called Vue.js, and then we're going to interact with our API using another framework called Axios, and these are two quite popular frameworks and they work quite well with each other, and it's quite easy to use and get the hang of, so that's why we're going to be using it. So we're going to have to include these scripts within our project, so head over to layout, and then at the bottom of our head tag we're just going to add in these three scripts here. The first one is for Vue, the other one is for Vuex, and then the last one is for Axios. And then once we have these in here, we can now continue with integrating these into our home page. So we're going to head over to our index page, and we're going to replace the code in here, and we're just going to do a quick run through. I'm just going to collapse this and comment this out for a second. So to start off, we have a main div with an ID of index page, and this is quite crucial because this is what we will be linking to our Vue.js model. And what we'll be able to do is within here we'll be able to access the variables within our Vue.js model, so we can use them. So like if we have a list of the dogs, we can get that list of dogs from Vue.js and display it, and it keeps everything quite neat, which is great as well. And there's not an awful lot of code involved in this, which is another good benefit. But here we just have a top row with a column and just two buttons here. We have an add button and refresh, which we will use in a later video when we have a database integrated, but we'll be able to add a new dog record and then also refresh the list, so we get an updated list anytime any change happens. Then below our buttons we have another row, and down here we have our table, and within the head of the table we just have some columns defined. So we have the name, the breed, the age and the weight, and then below that in the body we have what's doing here is a view for. So this is the Vue.js attribute for a for loop. So what we're doing is we're looping through a list of dogs and defining each object as an item, and then we can access each variable then within the array by defining the name, the breed, the age and their weight. And this corresponds to what our API returns with the name, the age, their weight and their breed, and everything is lowercase, so everything is case sensitive, so that's why we have item.lowercase name and lowercase breed, because it needs to be able to match up correctly. But if I build this out now without doing any Vue.js, we're going to see on our home page that we have this table, we have our add and refresh button, and you're going to see you have these open curly braces and the item.name and closing the curly braces, and this is what our display is going to look like, except we should have some animal names here and some breeds and their age and their weight. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So back over in our code, we need to uncomment here, which is our section scripts, and we're going to include a script of index.js which we have to create. So come over here to www.root, and within our JS folder we're just going to create a new item. I have it selected, JavaScript, and call it index. And then in here we're going to paste our Vue.js code. So this Vue.js code is, it looks at first, what are you looking at? But we'll just do a quick run through. We're defining a variable here of index page, which is creating a new Vue object. And within this Vue object, we're defining an element to attach to, which is our index page ID, which is here. And then we have some data, which is our dogs array, which is also defined in here. So that's, we're going to populate this array within here, and then it's going to get displayed out here. Then we have this before mount, which means before the rendering happens on the screen, everything mounts to the screen, that we are going to run this function here, which is within our methods. And this function does an axios.get call to our API, so /API/dog, and then once that's successful, we are going to then get the res.data, so the response data, and I'm just going to put it into a variable here. This is just what I do. And then we're going to do vm.dogs equals data, so we're going to populate the array up here with the data that we get back from the API. And this VM I have defined just outside of Axios here, and this is just something that I've always done, so you don't have to do it. You could do this.dogs, but I prefer doing vm.dogs, and that's fine. So now if we build this all out and save everything, and we do Control F5, when we go back over to our home page here, you will see now that we have all our dogs listed, which is great. We're getting their name, their breed, their age, and their weight, and this is all corresponding to what we get back here. So everything that we see in here is being displayed in our table, except for if they're friendly or what color they are. I just chose not to display them, but you could play around with this and add in a new column here, and then add in another piece of data down here, and just change it to color, and it will display whatever comes back from the API. And just to verify that this is working, we're going to head over to our API controller, and we'll just scroll to the bottom, and we're just going to create a new dog, which I will just call John, and John is going to be a boxer. He's only going to be 1 year old. His color is going to be blue, and he weighs 20 kilos, and he is friendly. So we're going to save, Control F5 to build that out. And if we come back over here, we can see John the boxer, who is 1 and weighs 20 kilos, is now in our list as well. And that is essentially it. That's how we display the data from our API in our front end using Vue.js. And there's not an awful lot of code involved here, so please feel free to go onto the GitHub and play around with it as much as you want. And I hope this video helped you be able to display your API data on your front end. So that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please just rate, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.